Hi, everybody. I'm Abby, a creative strategist.
Hi, I'm Lazar. I'm a copywriter and strategist.
I'm Kaylee. I'm also a copywriter.
And I'm Alexander, and I'm also a copywriter, and we are all students of the Bachelor of Creative Advertising program.
Destined to take our jobs.
You think?
Yeah.
I think we're all doomed.
Yeah, no, actually, I think AI is great. I think it's a good creative tool. Wouldn't you say so, Lazar?
I think both are true. I think it can be a good tool, especially for creatives, but I think on the junior level, it's kind of inevitable that it's gonna take over a lot of like rudimentary tasks that they just don't need to hire people for, or they could just give more of the workload to one person, and then that person can like use AI as a tool to do more a lot faster too.
Yeah, I think that like as advertisers, we are very creative, and so having the tool that'll do also the like analytical stuff for us, like making lists and organizing stuff, is just it'll save a lot of time.
I just think it's important. I feel like a lot of our profs have talked about this. It's important not to rely on it for everything, but I think I can speak for all of us when I say that we are using it for kind of especially more at the beginning of trying to figure out what those ideas are, or simplifying stuff to like explain it to me like I'm 5, and just trying to help it kind of streamline our thoughts, but not using it as like, oh, give me 25 headlines and then taking 5 of those and not editing them at all. Like, that's not what we're going to do.
Yeah, I agree. I think like the biggest thing too is like as long as you have like your human brain behind it, it's a useful tool. So if you don't let it take over your work, but instead use it to help you like boost your work.
Yeah, it gives you some inspiration. And I think also we've been learning a lot about the proper ways to prompt, or the best ways to prompt, using different techniques, which I think is helping us get the most out of all of our language models. But yeah, not relying on it is the most important thing, because you want to, like Kaylee said, you want it to be human, you want it to seem relatable, and a lot of the AI models are just kind of baseline.
Mm-hmm. I also think there's like legalities around AI. Like I was talking to someone who was saying that there's certain things they just can't even touch it for, because it is so kind of frowned upon right now for taking over a lot of the creative roles, where they have to be really like careful in what they actually use it for. And then also certain brands just don't want it used at all. So it kind of depends on the client too, I guess. But I think for like basic promotional things like emails or text messages, for example, like you don't really need a copywriter creatively dedicated to telling you there's like a sale on an item or a seasonal thing. Like those types of like advertising and promotion, like marketing materials, are pretty much going to be, I think, replaced.
Exactly. Yeah, like roles like that.
Yeah,
AI is going to be the norm. It's going to just cover most of those jobs, and I think that we have to learn how to use it. Otherwise, we're just going to be left behind, because we focus on those jobs, and then a couple years down the line, like, okay, humans aren't touching this anymore.
Yeah.
Then you're going to be losing lots of experience that you could have been doing elsewhere to AI.
Yeah, I agree. And also like to kind of reverse the question, rather than it being like a detriment, it'll actually be an advantage for us if we learn it, being like young creatives stepping into the industry soon. I think if we know a lot about it, then there's an advantage there in the fact that people will look to you coming into the industry about AI. They can ask you guys about it or ask us about it.
Yeah, I like that our profs are very much like adamant that we use it in some way, just because like you guys are saying, at this point in how AI is progressing, if you're not using it, then you're kind of screwed. Like all the agencies are using them. It's just finding out the best ways to go about it, and then having like different agencies training their AI to speak in different ways, or having it super brand focused. There's so much that you can do, but it just takes that time to kind of train the model, so then you can go and it can be a lot more helpful.
Yeah.
The kind of surge of AI is like completely comparable to the surge of like the internet. The people who were like very against it, like, oh, it's just like a fad, it won't be anything. Then when it came time in like 10 years where they had to make like spreadsheets and stuff like that, they had like no clue what they were doing, and they were left behind.
Yeah, I think it's like just technology in general, like Adobe tools, even like people were storyboarding or mocking up designs, not just for ads, but for anything. And then Adobe came out and like people had just had to adapt. Like, I just think it's another one of those things. I also think AI as a whole is kind of hitting its like peak where like it's already so good where like I don't know how much better it could be, particularly with like image generation or like video generation. Like we've seen it jump so much now. It's almost like every year a new iPhone comes out and you're just kind of like, okay, but it can pretty much do all the same things that like the iPhone from 10 years ago was doing. So I think, yeah, like adapting for sure, but also it's like you're gonna need like human input, editing, at least like a eye, especially for like designers or art directors. Like you need to have a good creative eye, otherwise like you're not gonna know like what looks good. What are you even trying to achieve by like prompting and generating images like as well.
What about favorite AI models? Do we have a favorite one?
Chat
Yeah,
GPT.
Chat. I like Claude. Claude's pretty good too.
Yeah.
For creative writing, there's one called Manus. It's actually pretty good. I think that one gives you like the most sort of like, I guess like creative, but also like casual tone versus like Chat is like mostly just like formulaic, and the way it outputs, it's pretty much the same every time. Claude's a little better, I think, as well.
What about for image generation?
I like Gemini.
Yeah.
Gemini, like Nano Banana is really good for putting like product shots into things as well. I've been using that.
I like Gemini for when I'm doing research. The fact that you can now pretty much Google anything and it will pull a bunch of sources for you, and then you can go through them. That makes the research, especially for the strategy, so much easier, and it makes me enjoy it more because I'm not the biggest fan of research, because it can be quite a struggle to find stuff, but it makes it so much easier, and then it really gives me, I can use my brain power more for the creative strategy part rather than the research, which I think for me makes the process a little bit more enjoyable. But no, that's like my favorite thing. I get so excited when I get like the exact answer I'm looking for through Gemini.
Do you guys think that Sora will kind of be more popular in advertising soon? Do you guys see like the video generation?
I think it definitely, I think it's at a point right now where if it was, you like generate something and throw it in an ad, like it's not the best, but I think with improvements, which I assume are in the works, it could definitely be there. Because we did like for the BoCA TikTok, we made a Jake Paul video, and the fact that it isn't 100% realistic, but it very much looks like him talking about the creative process and all these things, that it definitely, I wouldn't be surprised if it became more popular.
Now that AI videos are so accessible with stuff like Sora, do you think that storyboards will become obsolete?
No,
Like
I don't think
storyboard
so.
artists or like storyboards
In general, like I map out the video idea if you could just type in a prompt and have a video already made that people can reference?
I think you have to storyboard. Like I think like camera shots, angles, lighting, like all these things like need to be planned out. I think you can use it to help you, but I think storyboards itself won't go away. I think storyboard specific artists might have to also adapt and just use more AI, but I think you kind of need storyboards.
Yeah, I think there's a benefit in storyboards in terms of like breaking something down and like highlighting every single frame, and not just for like angles, but for everything, for dialogue as well. Like I feel like a storyboard breaks it down better.
I think a lot of us are using it for just general preliminary ideation to kind of help us figure out kind of different directions that are relatable or make the most sense. I think also for breaking down briefs a little bit more to kind of pinpoint exactly what the ask is. I feel like, at least for me, that's kind of my way of going about it. Or if I'm writing something, I like for it to polish what I'm writing, or to ask it, does what I say actually make sense, or does it only make sense to me?
Yeah, I feel like I run by like run a lot of my projects by it before I hand something in or before I submit something. But I mean, I don't know what all we're allowed to talk about, but right now the campaign I'm working on for Pink Cherry, I was like trying, because we've been challenged to use AI for our assignment as a tool in some way throughout the creative process, but I was like trying to ask AI questions about masturbation, and like it ended with like AI giving me like ChatGPT giving me like a step-by-step process of like how to get in the mood and like what to do. It was so funny. But the funny thing is that like there's still like restrictions, especially for ChatGPT. Like there's some stuff obviously it can't say. It goes against its like guidelines. So like it kept like beating around the bush, but it wouldn't fully say like specific things. And it kept giving me the reminder of like, oh, like, well, I can't really say all of this, but like if you want to set the mood, like here are some things you could try. That was really funny.
I think that's true, because like there's like still limitations. I think when we were doing a campaign for Gravel, and one of their SKUs is like a kids version of Gravel, so we needed to AI generate like images of kids, but like most AI platforms have like it's against their guidelines to generate images of kids, but I think it ended up being like, I think it was Gemini didn't have that as a guideline, so we were able to like use that. So I think it kind of just goes with like using different like AI agents for different things that they're good at or that they can do. Like even I think one time I honestly didn't want to like watch a video of something, so I got it to like transcribe and give me a summary of it, but I think only Manus was able to do that. I tried to prompt all the other ones and it was like it couldn't fetch that data. So yeah, just kind of knowing like which ones are good at what and being able to utilize them for like different parts.
True.
The Coca-Cola one has been a controversy kind of for a while. Like last year people hated on it for using AI, and then they're back again with another AI one.
I think people are just weary about it at the time because it was still fairly like new. Like AI has obviously been around for a little bit now, but like actually using AI in professional settings is kind of still newer. So like when Coca-Cola released that, people were skeptical. But the Heinz one I think was so clever of like it just like added to their campaign so well. And I think what they did really good or really well was they highlighted the fact that basically AI is kind of unbiased, and they used that as a tool with the like has to be Heinz. And so I think that's a good example of like using AI as a tool, because they figured out, okay, well, what is good about AI? Well, one, it's unbiased, so we can utilize that to our advantage, because if we say that Heinz is the best, then they're not going to believe us. But if something unbiased says it, then
I think the Heinz one was kind of perfect at the time with like where AI was, or specifically like image generation, because it wasn't like as good as it is now, and they kind of took advantage of that too.
True.
Versus like the Coke one, they're really going for like a super polished like look. But I also think the Coke one is like very much intentional. Like so many people were talking about it last year that it's like it makes sense they did it again this year. Otherwise it's just another like Christmas Coke ad, versus like this they have at least like all press is good press. Even if some people are against it, a lot of people are also being like, oh, this actually like looks good.
I agree. I think like the Heinz one was very much like a very strategic like use of AI, whereas the Coca-Cola one was still cool. Some people liked it, some people hated it, but like just garnered a lot of earned media, which is still good for their brand.
When the first Coca-Cola ad came out, lots of people were saying just like how it looked horrible, which I kind of agree with. But that wasn't my main problem with it. It's such a long-lasting tradition. It's such like a big thing that like tons of people would love to have it in their books, and they cut the number of people working on it by like half. I'm guessing. I don't know the numbers. I think that the fact they obviously like we were talking about before, when like it's the small stuff like Instagram captions, and AI definitely for that. But when it's such a big project and big production, I think that not hiring people is harmful to the industry. And so like the AI, it improved a lot over the past year. So like the new ad, I don't even think it looks that bad. But it's still the fact that those are jobs that people could have had that they just blatantly gave to AI.
But it's also like they're a business at the end of the day. Like they're going to do whatever to increase their profit margins, and if like not having like X amount of people on a salary versus like being able to kind of produce like pretty much what they could too. I guess also that kind of makes sense. It sucks. Like I don't like agree with it, but it's like you kind of see why.
Yeah. And like the worst part about it is that like they already have such a strong brand, like such a strong brand persona that they can kind of afford to do something like that and it won't really affect them. So like as like a businessy kind of move.